At present, about 6,900 different languages are spoken worldwide as a consequence of tens of thousands of years of language evolution. Every language has developed its own way to formulate concepts. A language may have a single word to express an idea, another language may use more than two words, or may not express that idea at all. Moreover, languages have their own way to collocate words. In fact, an acceptable collocation in our language may not be acceptable in another language. In Italian they say to do a question, in English to ask a question, and in German to put a question. How are words put together? Beyond grammatical and syntactical rules, what are the factors which contribute to the creation of lexical items? What is the reason why in a certain phrase a word fit better than another? John Rupert Firth, a renowned English linguist, conceived the notion of collocation, that is, the typical association of lexical items. Every word has other words which it is more or less compatible with and which it co-occurs more or less frequently with. A collocation is formed by a word called base and another word called collocate. Take the word hair, for example. The most common words which it collocates with, that is to say, its most common collocates are blonde, auburn, long, short, thick, thin, etc. The set of the most common collocates of a word is called collocational range. Some words have a collocation greater than others. For example, the word bark collocates with dog and few other words only. The word make, instead, can be extensively used in association with many words. Sometimes the very meaning of a word is determined by the word it co-occurs with, and equivalent words in different languages rarely, if ever, have the same range of collocations. For example, the adjective broad can collocate with knowledge. There is a perfect equivalent in Italian, ampia conoscenza. However, in British English we found also the phrase broad accent, which can be rendered into Italian as accento marcato. In this case, the figurative meaning of broad extends to and collocates with accent, which is not the case with the collocational range of the Italian adjective ampio. Lexical combinations are not determined by grammar rules. So, what are the factors which determine the collocational range of a word? Some word combinations sound familiar to a hearer's ear in that they easily lead to think of a context where they can be used. For example, we can easily think of an occasion where to use the utterance "I need a haircut." Other combinations, on the other hand, are considered abnormal for they are difficult to be imagined in daily conversation. For example, drink the meat. Some collocations sound atypical because they do not respect some restrictions which words impose on their companions. For example, the very meaning of read requires that it have a human subject and an inanimate object. The cat reads the wind, in fact, has no sense. These restrictions are determined by some presuppositions entailed by the meaning of words. The verb listen requires an animate subject. The verb kill requires an object which is still alive at the time the action is carried out. The word sight entails eye, the word hearing entails ear, etc. There are some restrictions, however, which do not depend on word presuppositions. The adjective yellow does not collocate well with the hair, since blonde is a more specific adjective for hair. We say bend rule, but the collocation unbendable rules is not used. Some words are excluded from the collocational range of a word just because of the principle of use and disuse. In other words, we do not say some things simply because we do not say them. In fact, much of what we say and write in our own language is both routine and predictable, not because of grammar rules, but because of what we and others have already said and written. Unlike grammar classes, according to which an utterance can be admissible or inadmissible, statements about collocations are made in terms of what is typical or atypical. This means that there exist no impossible collocations, but some are more probable than others. Therefore, depending on the context, also collocations such as bright night and dark day are possible. After all, a language is a rather flexible and creative communication tool. A speaker can willingly create an unusual collocation which has never been heard or read before, which is unlikely to convey any recognizable meaning if analyzed outside of its context, but which can however express a concept even in a more colorful and effective way than any typical collocation would do if it is analyzed within its context. These atypical collocations are called marked collocations. They generally catch the reader or hearer's attention in that they challenge his or her expectations. Marked collocations are therefore often used in fiction, poetry, news reporting, and advertisements to create ironic effects, unusual images, and catch the reader's attention. Idiomatic expressions are a particular type of collocation. They are crystallized word combinations in a language and have a special connotation, not usually equal to the sum of the meanings of the individual words. The meaning of a common word combination is generally given by the sum of the meanings of the single words. We say therefore that the collocation has a compositional meaning. However, idiomatic expressions do not behave in this way. The meaning of the Italian expression tirare le cuoia is not given by the sum of the meaning of the verb tirare and the meaning of the name cuoia. Only the whole lexical combination has the recognizable meaning of to die. Lexical combinations and idiomatic expressions pose various problems in translation. A translator has to be able to understand the compositional meaning of the collocation, whether or not the collocation is marked, and what register it is. As far as idiomatic expressions are concerned, a translator has to be able to correctly understand the idiomatic meaning of the expression and render it into the target language with the same meaning and effect as the original, which is a hard and sometimes impossible task, especially if idioms are used to create plays on words. In the case of collocations or idioms, which express culture-bound concepts, the translator can adopt two main methods: foreignization, according to which the translator preserves the linguistic and cultural differences from the source text, and domestication, according to which the translator erases the cultural values of the source text and rewrites a text as if it had been written in the target language. There is a lively debate on the translator's role, that is, whether he or she should move the target reader toward the source culture, or rather adapt the source culture to that of the target reader. However, domestication may be the best choice, if we consider that it prevents the reader from coming into contact with unfamiliar foreign elements, which could affect the text fluency or comprehensibility. We have said that about 6,900 languages are spoken worldwide. Every one of them has its own way to agglutinate words and express concepts. Every word has its frequency of use, its context, and its socio-cultural references. These are all factors which make the idioms of a language unique. The translator's role is that of enhancing the uniqueness of the foreign language through the uniqueness of his or her native language, by creating a text which can entertain, amuse, move, educate, to the same extent as the original.